Hi everyone and welcome to this Easter egg tutorial. Here's what you need, not that much. And we're gonna get started. You're gonna start with a magic ring. If you haven't made one before, I'm showing you here how to hold the thread over your hand. Pull the long end over 2 fingers, overlapping the other thread. The long end is on top. Insert the hook under the first thread, the one that leads to the short end. Pull through the long end of the yarn and you have a ring that you can pull. But first we're going to secure this ring by making a chain. And now you can start working around the ring. So we're going to make a single crochet, chain 1, a single crochet, chain 1, and we're repeating this until we have 4 single crochet. Now we have 4 and we can start pulling the short end so that the ring closes. And now we're gonna close the round with a slip stitch in the first stitch. And on the next round we're going to increase and double the amount of stitches. So the pattern is a waistcoat stitch, chain 1. And now we're going to make 2 waistcoat stitches in every single crochet, and we are making the pattern waistcoat stitch, chain 1. And if you haven't made the waistcoat stitch before, I have another tutorial that shows you the stitch and where you can get used to making the stitch to make a cowl. But here I'm showing you how to not place the hook. You should point the hook to the right. There's a kind of bar on the back of the stitch and your hook should go to the right of this thread or bar. So this is important, otherwise your stitches will be spiraling and the result will be worse. But here I'm making waistcoat stitch, chain 1, waistcoat stitch again in the same stitch and chain 1. And then we're going to the next waistcoat stitch where we are making again waistcoat stitch, chain 1, waistcoat stitch. So you started the round with 4 single crochet or waistcoat stitches, and when the round is finished you're gonna have 8. So actually 16 stitches if you count the last slip stitch, otherwise it's 15. On this next round we are just going to work 1 stitch in every stitch, so no increases. We're just making a waistcoat stitch in the waistcoat stitch, chain 1 and skip 1, and waistcoat stitch in the next waistcoat. So we are maintaining the amount of stitches and working like this till the end of the round. So the egg should start getting a sort of round shape, and on the next round we're gonna increase again, but we're gonna increase every other waistcoat stitch. So we're gonna make waistcoat stitch, chain 1, skip 1, But in the next waistcoat stitch we are again making an increase, so waistcoat stitch, chain 1, and waistcoat again in the same stitch. And repeat this pattern all over the round. 1 waistcoat stitch in one stitch and 2 in the next until the end of the round. So we are increasing by 50% the stitches, and we will have 24 stitches at the end of the round. Again, if we're counting the slip stitch, otherwise 23. Again, we close the round with a slip stitch and chain 1 for the next round. And we're gonna continue working in the waistcoat stitch, chain 1 and skip 1 pattern without making any increases or decreases for a number of rounds. And here you can also make the pattern, any pattern that you want, and I'm making some suggestions. Here I'm going to show how to just make simple stripes with another color, but after that I'm also going to suggest some other possibilities, some other possible patterns. So keep watching if you want to have another pattern and decide which one you want. So I've made one round in the same color after the end of the increases, and now I'm gonna take another color. So take out the second color that you want to use, and I'm going to introduce it when slip stitching to close this round. So I have my new color, and to attach the yarn I'm again making a chain, and I'm just going to work in the same pattern with this color until the end of the round. And at the end of the round again I'm introducing the other color, the yellow, when slip stitching to close the round. So what I will do is to work now one round with the yellow color and then one round again with the white color. So it's a very simple pattern, and I don't think I need to show you much more, and I'm gonna fast forward a bit and show you the other patterns and how to end the egg. Here I have another Easter egg, and I'm gonna show you how to alternate the two colors in a different way. I'm going to make the waistcoat stitch in the main color here, the olive color, and I'm going to make the chains in between in a white color. And it takes some time to get into how you alternate the two threads, but after a while it becomes quite fun. At least I think so, so I hope you also think so. Just have some patience. It's a bit tricky in the end. So I'm showing you here how to alternate the threads, and I think it's hard to explain. I'm just gonna simply show you. Here I'm at the end of the round, and I'm making the slip stitch with the main color, and then I'm just gonna work 3 rounds the same way as I worked this first round. So it's just starting with the main color, making the waistcoat stitch, and halfway into the waistcoat stitch I'm changing the color, changing again to make the chain, and making the waistcoat in the main color. Hopefully you've got the hang of it by now. It's a bit tricky, but the result is nice. And after this I'm going to show you how to flip the colors and make it the opposite way, even though probably you can figure it out. But just as an example and to give you a bit more illustration, I'm going to show you next. So whatever pattern you made, it's good to attach the thread that remains from the magic ring, because the magic ring can start unraveling. So just attach the thread at the bottom a little bit. The other threads I would just tuck into the egg. If you want to be really sure, you can also attach them, but I have not found it necessary, but it may depend on what yarn you are using. So again, whatever pattern you made, you're going to make 6 rounds of the waistcoat stitch pattern, chain 1, before you start decreasing. So from the last increase, which you can see because there are 2 waistcoat stitches in one stitch, from that round you're going to make 6, in total 6 rounds. And then I'm going to show you how to start decreasing. How we decrease is that on this first decrease round we are just making the waistcoat stitches without any chains in between. So just simply 1 waistcoat stitch in every waistcoat stitch and join the round. And we're going to do this for 2 rounds. So now it's time for the next step. We're gonna make waistcoat stitch chain 1 again, and when we chain 1 we're gonna skip 1 of the waistcoat stitches from the previous round. So we are maintaining the amount of stitches, but we are replacing the waistcoat stitch with a chain 1 in between. So work like this all around and join at the end with a slip stitch. And now it's time to find your padding. I hope that's what it's called. Whatever you want to use. You can use something like a polyester padding or whatever you have in your local store, or you can also use yarn scraps that you are not going to use for something else. Just fill the egg before you close the round, it will make it easier, and fill it a little bit, it's going to fill up the top of the egg also, so try to fill as much as possible without making it, stiff. So now you can close the egg with the slip stitch, and then we're gonna make the final round before your Easter egg is finished, and we're gonna chain one, and now we're just gonna make the waistcoat stitch in the waistcoat stitches again, but this time with fewer stitches. So just one waistcoat stitch in each waistcoat stitch and skip making any chains. And it can be a little bit fiddly now at the end, but it's just a few stitches, so you'll manage, or you'll make it. And then we're gonna join with a slip stitch. So we are joining here, and you can cut your thread, and we're just gonna close the opening at the top while also making something for the egg to hang in. So I'm gonna show you what I'm doing. I don't attach the thread very well, just a little bit, because the egg is very light, but you can just, pull the thread through the egg and attach it on the other side 1 or 2 times, and I think it will be okay.